Pterodactyl here, and today we're going to do some woodworking. That's right. I'm going to show you how to make a shift knob. Your own homemade wooden shift knob. Are you excited? I am. Now, this is the old shift knob off my Triumph Spitfire that I made back in 2004. And it was kind of small. I didn't like it. See how small it is? It's like a teeny tiny shift knob. I don't like it. It's too small. I never liked it after I made it. So I made me a new one. Here's the new one. See? It's a lot bigger. You can hold in your hand. So see the difference? And I made this myself. And I'm going to show you how you can make one. Now mine's got the switch in the middle because I have electric overdrive on that car. So when you flip the switch, it's like kicking it into another gear. It's a 4-speed manual trans, and when you kick that switch, it's like a 5th gear, for those of you who don't know about electric overdrives on Triumph Spitfire. So I've been meaning to make a new shift knob, and I made it. Now I'm going to show you how to make one. Very simple and easy. So the first thing you need to do is pick out the type of wood you want to make it out of. Now mine's made out of walnut, dark walnut. And as you can see, I cored out 3 holes with the hole saw. So figure out the size, the diameter you want to use. Now this is a 2 1/8 hole saw. So you're going to core out 3 pieces of wood of the wood of your choice, and then we're going to glue them together. So I'm going to core out 3 pieces of this walnut out of these scrap pieces that I got left over. Alright, so now I got my slugs all drilled out. I took some 80 grit sandpaper to kind of rough it up. The one in the middle, I sanded on both sides. And then these other ones, I just sanded on one side. So you can use whatever glue you want to use. Wood glue. I'm going to use this Gorilla Glue, which is clear. And we're going to glue these 3 pieces together on our sanded sides. Now, of course, you're going to want to choose, better grain like this. You're not going to want to put that part on your shift knob. You're going to want to find a better piece of the wood, but we're just doing this as an example. And then get yourself a long bolt and some big flat washers, and you're going to clamp. This is how you're going to clamp it together. And now we're going to tighten that down. Now we'll let that dry. Clean up any of that excess glue. And again, you're not going to want to use that knotted part, but we just use that just as an example. You know what else I'm making for my Spitfire? Drink holder. And you can make a drink holder too for your special car or classic car that doesn't have a drink holder. Same thing, very simple design. Hole saw, wood of your choice. I'm using some stainless steel carriage bolts, which I polished. Here's the natural how I got them. Sanded them with some 600 sandpaper and put some metal polish on it, and that's how it looks. And this is some stainless steel tubing. So maybe you got a classic car, you want to put a drink holder in it, you want to make a nice simple design. Look at that. Looky there. Because you want stainless steel so it doesn't rust. Now all I got to do is varnish it. This will sit right on the tunnel of my Spitfire. That's why I had to go a little bit longer with these, and I ground points on them. So they'll sit, stab into the carpet, and then this part will sit on the tunnel. So it'll be nice and level. And then what I'll do is I'll add a piece of Velcro back here, because it's going to butt up against another piece of the carpet back here. So the Velcro will hold it from coming off, and this will keep it stable. So you'll have to come up with your own mounting for how you're going to put it in your car, but maybe this will inspire you. I'm here to inspire. Drink holder. Another woodworking project by Taryl. Now it's all glued together. I unbolted it, took my big flat washers off of there that I used to kind of help hold it together. Now we're ready to shape it. Now I know what some of y'all are thinking.
Taryl, you got that hole going all the way through there. How are you going to plug off that hole in the top? Maybe my shift knob doesn't have a switch in it like your Spitfire does. So what do I do? What do I do there?
All right, that's a good question. So there's lots of things you could do, depending on how you're going to fit this to your shift knob or your shift lever, the knob to the lever. So one thing you can do is you can go to the hardware store and you can buy this wood insert. So this is a 3/8 16 wood insert. Now this one that I picked up at the hardware store, it told me what drill bit to use, and that's a 15/32 drill bit. So you could drill that out, and you can put this wood insert in there, so you can screw it onto your shifter shaft.
So what do I do about the hole in the top?
Okay, we'll get to that, hold on. Another thing you can do is you could core out the center, like I did here, for the Spitfire, and you could core it out big enough so that you could get a nut down in there. Or you can buy what's called a slotted nut. It's a round nut like this, but instead of the hex on it, it's just got a slot in it, so you could screw it on. So if you core it out this big enough so you could drop the nut down there and get a socket in there. So you'll have to find out what size drill bit you could use for that. So you could slide this onto your shifter shaft and then use a nut to hold it on. Because some shifters, you know, there's a nut down here and then you got a nut on the inside. And then that way you can line it up. So, there's a couple of things you can do to hide this or cover this. You can get these plugs that fit in there like that. So that gives it a nice look. These cap plugs. Or you can get creative and you could take one of your wood spade bits and you could bore it a little bit and you could put a coin or a token in there. Here's a token, some kind of favorite metal or something you might have, a token or something. You could stick in the top to hide the hole. Or in the case of here, see how I bored it? 2 different sizes. So I bored it that size, the size of the socket, and then I bored it this other size a little bit bigger. You can put a button in there. Maybe you got a button of something. So I took the pin back off, and look at that. You could put that in there, in the top of your shift knob. So you just got to get creative when it comes to that, for blocking off the top. So that's how you take care of that solution. All right, so now we're going to do some hillbilly wood lathe to shape this, and we're going to use a drill press. It's as simple as that, because I don't have a wood lathe. So chuck it up in your drill press, or if you got a corded drill, you could use a corded drill. You're just going to have to put it in a vise. And then you're going to need a real heavy wood rasp or wood file. You're going to need a couple different ones. So I'm going to use this one, and then I got this other one that's a little less aggressive than this one, and then some 80 grit sandpaper, and then this is some 150 grit sandpaper. Alright, so let's shape this into a shift knob. Oh, she loosened up on me. I gotta tighten her up. I didn't tighten it up when I took them washers off. There we go. And you notice I flipped it around, so this bad part of this wood is going to be where we're going to machine it down. But of course you're going to want to pick out good wood. I just use scrap wood. Alright, let's see how it looks. Not bad. Not bad. We got rid of that bad spot. We still got to clean this up right in here. So let's clean that up some more. I want to shape it a little more here. Round it out a little more. There we go. Yeah, we got a little void in there. I can fill that in with some wood putty. There's your homemade shift knob. I need to round that off a little bit more. Looks pretty good, don't it? Now say this happens to you.
Taryl, I did like you did, and I had that void in there.
So now we're going to make some homemade wood filler. So here's that Gorilla Glue that I used to clear. And I'll put some of that. And then here's a bunch of that from when I filed on here. All this dust. So here's a bunch of that right here. And we're going to mix it together. We're going to make our own wood filler. Smush it in there. And then we'll let it dry, and then we'll just sand it off. Just like Bondo. So now you let that dry. You can put it back in the drill press and sand it, or you can just sand it by hand. And then apply as many coats of polyurethane. This one's got dust all over it. I think I got about 10 coats of polyurethane on here. And you'll have yourself a beautiful wooden shift knob. Didn't that turn out nice? Now my drink holder. So look at how shiny those came. These stainless steel hardware that I use. Now you could use different hardware on your drink holder. You don't have to use these carriage bolts. You could use Allen heads and sink them down in there to give it that industrial look. And then this was stainless tubing I bought, and I polished it up. See, here's one that's not polished. So the same thing. Let me get a rag. Get yourself some metal polish, whatever brand you prefer. I've got some Hoosier metal polish because, you know, we're Hoosiers here in Podunk, Indiana. So this is what I use. Put a little bit on a rag. There it is. I sanded that with 600. That quick, it shines it up. For this, same thing, long bolt. Bolt it in there. Stick it in a drill. Got your metal polish. Looks like chrome. Now I got about 8 or 9 coats on that drink holder. As soon as that dries, I'll put it all together. Here's the shift knob. Now I threw a couple of coats of varnish on there just to let you see how it looks. You can see my homemade filler worked. But of course, if you make one of these, you know, if you use a better piece of wood, you won't have to put any filler on it. And then I put that insert in. Now, of course, when you're making this on a drill press like I did, it's not a lathe. It's not going to be perfectly centered. And another bit of advice, if you do decide to go with one of these inserts, put the insert in first before you start to shape the shift knob. So I think maybe we'll use this on the RJ. We'll put this on that RJ Wheelie Horse project. And then, of course, we'll put that button of me on there.
Whoa, 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 I don't know about that.
What?
I think you need to put a button of me in there.
Do we even have a button of you?
Oh, I think so. I'm pretty sure we do. Somewhere.
Well, maybe we can have a button made where it's you and me on there.
That's even better.
Since this is a joint project.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea, Taryl. I like that.
So here's the knob I made for the Spitfire to match the walnut dash that I made. Oh, and look who's in the Spitfire. Blade. Blade, what are you doing in there?
What's up, little buddy?
Inspecting my work. And then here's that drink holder I made. Because there's not a lot of room in here. And then I glued some Velcro on the back. You could also put Velcro on the bottom if you want for your project. But there's that drink holder with the stainless tubes. Everything all polished up. About 10 coats of polyurethane varnish on there, high gloss. And then that way, if I want to take it out, I can. And it sits in there. I mean, it's going to rock around a little bit, but the seats are going to hold it in place. So, there it is. There's my homemade shift knob and drink holder. I show you how to make one cheaply on a drill press. So subscribe to this YouTube channel, Taryl Fixes All. That's me, Taryl. There's slippers. Junior's at the shop. Follow me with your shift knobs on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Shift knob. Drink holder. Homemade. And there's Blade walking all over my car. Don't scratch the car, Blade. Muffkin, what are you doing? Muffkin. Muffkin, come here.